Hello Libra, and welcome to your reading for the week of March 19th through April 1st, 2024. This is a reading for you if you are a Libra Sun, Moon, Rising, or have some other significant Libra placement. If you're returning to this channel, welcome back. It's good to have you here again. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. If you do enjoy these videos, please hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment if you choose, and hit subscribe so you always know when these videos are coming. Hit the notification bell to make sure that you are notified when new videos come out. I have some links back down in the description below to my website, my coaching website, my social media, and some other links as well, so you can check those out if you choose. This is a reading that is done according to the 12 houses of astrology. That is my format, and what I'll do is I will interpret the cards in those positions in terms of the house positions. If you don't know what that is or not familiar with what that is, you'll become clear pretty soon. The main deck that I use is Murray Hope's Way of Cartouche. Okay, this is my primary deck, and I usually clarify with a tarot deck. This week, because we have so much going on in astrological activity, I've decided that I'm going to use the Dark Moon astrology cards, or Black Moon astrology cards, actually. So I have this one here. I believe Susan Shepard is the author of those, who created that system. Excuse me. And then at the end, I will clarify with a single oracle card pull, and that will be for this week from the Essential Oil Oracle. I am now doing every other week I'm doing 6 signs. So one week I will do Aries through Virgo, the next week I will do Libra through Pisces. So just to make clear how the schedule and how I do these has changed. For those of you who are used to getting a weekly reading, it's just proven to be too much. I can't do them very effectively if I have to do 12. I literally can't do anything else. So, and I do have other things that other endeavors that I'm working on, other channels and other stuff that I deal with. So I've decided that this is the best compromise that I can have. So apologies to those of you who have the weekly readings. I'm now doing them bi-weekly. So, okay, now astrologically, what we do need to know for this period of time that I'm reading for, we are in Mercury retrograde pre-shadow, and Mercury retrograde does actually start on the 1st of April. So we've got that in the mix. March 25th, there is going to be a lunar eclipse, okay? So that is all going to be during the duration of this reading that we are going to see this coming up. So that is something to bear in mind. Those energies tend to bring things back. They tend to allow us to reevaluate past situations. And eclipses can often bring sudden changes and surprises. Eclipses often bring truths about situations. Lunar eclipses, we tend to see things happen more immediately. With the solar eclipse, we have things that could happen over a period of 6 months. Now, some people might say all eclipses, it could be a 6-month period of time, because they always happen in pairs. So we do have a lunar eclipse on the 25th, and on April 8th, there will be a solar eclipse. And so those are always very, very transformative times. And just a quick glance at your reading, I'm seeing both lunar and solar eclipse energy in your reading. So yeah, it's definitely going to be affecting certain areas of your life. So, okay, so let's get into it and see what we have. So the first house, the first astrological house, is the house of Aries. That's Aries energy, so that is your personality, how you present yourself to the world, how other people see you, how you want to be seen. And the cards we have here, well, we have Aries in the Aries house. Okay, this is a card of action. Okay, Aries is an energy, I hesitate to use the word aggressive. You might think of it as an aggressive energy, but it's more fiery, more, can-do kind of energy. Let's get up and do this. No fooling around, no waiting. There's definitely a sense that you as you encounter situations that you wish to take action. Now you have this with the twins, okay? Now the twins, it can be either Gemini or Libra energy, and of course you are Libra. I feel like what we have here is, okay, how do I want to phrase this? This is an energy that when it comes up in the first house can either be you reflecting the personality of another person. Maybe you are, there could be some kind of projection going on between you and somebody else. Sometimes this comes up if we are either very deeply in love with somebody or if we're very deeply enmeshed in another person's situation for some reason. Our actions and our reactions and what we're presenting may be in response to somebody else. That's one possibility. And do remember, this is a general reading, so I'm going to give you the range of possibilities, and you'll have to decide which one of those applies to you and which ones don't. But the other aspect of this is that this often can come up when we are being kind of two-faced, and I don't mean that in a kind of mean way, you know, like in the sense of, you know, somebody who's like a liar or a manipulator. I don't mean it in that way. When I say something that there's a two-facedness here, it usually means that you are presenting one thing to people, or one group of people at least, and you may be presenting differently to a different group of people. And there's all kinds of reasons why you might be doing that. There may be certain people that maybe you don't trust with certain things, and you feel that in order to get things done, you have to appease one group one way maybe, and then maybe you're going to show your true feelings to another group. So yeah, it's more that kind of an energy, not a manipulative energy. But this is that the idea that right now, or you just kind of maybe split. You know, you may be dealing with some paradoxes right now that you're trying to resolve. But nonetheless, we definitely see a lot of fire energy here, very active, very much interested in moving something forward, okay? Okay, second house is Taurus energy. This is to do with your finances primarily. Okay, and we have Sirius with Chiron. So when Chiron is the wounded healer. So when we have Chiron showing up in the second house, there could be insecurity surrounding money here. And because Chiron is where we are wounded. And so this is not going to be just a transient thing in which we say like, oh, you know, money's a little short this month or something. It's not that kind of a thing. It's more like wounds around security and financial security are coming up again, okay? So you may have situations going on right now. I mean, it could be anything from a financial situation. Some people have this thing where they're always trying to get ahead financially, and then for some reason, something will come up. Like, let's just say you save a whole bunch of money, and then all of a sudden, a big expense that you have to meet comes up. And so therefore, the money you saved is gone. You know, I mean, there's kind of this wounding around security, around having enough. Sometimes this comes up when you do have enough, but you may be convinced somehow, perhaps because of a past life thing, or perhaps because of even a trauma in this lifetime, that maybe you feel you don't have enough. Or you're constantly worried, like, am I going to have enough for retirement? Am I going to have enough for this? Am I going to have enough for that? There's almost like an existential worry about finances when this comes up. I mean, it doesn't have to go that far, but there does seem to be some kind of a thing going on, something that's triggering something that is around your financial security. And now we have it with Sirius. Okay, so Sirius is Aquarian energy. This has to do with thinking outside the box. It's definitely an expansive type of energy. And Sirius energy, if it's Aquarian, what we know about Aquarius is future thinking. So this some of you may well be thinking about retirement and whether you have enough. But I feel like with Sirius here, there's this idea of, you know, looking to the future, and I feel like there's a need to do something differently. Like Aquarius is not Capricorn energy. It's not that plotting. I mean, we do have Capricorn energy down here. Do we have it in a couple places? I only see it in the one spot here. But yeah, you may be in a spot where you are trying to do something different. You're trying to think outside the box. You want to come up with a new way of doing things, not just the same old way when it comes to your finances. Maybe you feel like you need to get creative in some way. Sirius can also indicate that there's some level of endurance that's going on. So maybe you are dealing with a little bit of a financial struggle, but Sirius tends to indicate things that you are capable of handling, okay? So whatever may be coming up, I don't feel like it's something like it's not showing a financial crisis. It could just be a little bit of a struggle with something where you may have to think differently or think creatively. And in a very specific and limited way, maybe some of you, and this is definitely not going to apply to all of you, Sirius could indicate somebody spending money on something connected to their physicality or physical health, like getting a gym membership or going to a personal trainer or something like that. That is also possible with this placement, but I would say that's probably not the overarching interpretation. I think the broader ones are probably more accurate here. Okay. So third house, this is Gemini energy. This has to do with messages that come in, messaging, communications of all kinds. It can have to do with self-employment. So if you are in your own business, this is the house of self-effort. Sibling relationships are also covered by this house, as well as journeys that are of a short distance. So not a long trip, not getting on a plane or driving several hours. I mean, something that would be close by. is also covered. That's all covered by this house. This is the house of Mercury. By the way, Mercury is retrograde, as we were saying, so, or pre-shadow and into retrograde. So that this would be the house that would be affected without Mercury appearing anywhere else in the reading. Okay, so we have Crook and Flail with the 10th house card. Now, 10th house, this is known as the World card on here. Now, it's not the same as the World card in the tarot deck. This has to do, the 10th house has to do with fame, reputation, how you're seen by the world, and you have it with the card of reputation, which is Crook and Flail. So, interestingly, this retrograde period that we're coming into, normally this would be somewhat regressive, but I feel like this is saying right now, either in business or in terms of some kind of messages, letters, texts, some kind of communication, that somehow now you are going to be more visible, like it's your time to shine. Okay, so if you are trying to start a business, this is a fantastic omen, because 10th house energy here to me as well is, this is a very successful career. This would be about being seen, and about being very successful in a kind of a business venture. Because the world seems to imply something that is not, this is not just you kind of hiding out in hermit mode or whatever. This is you connecting with community, you connecting with the world. So this is definitely encouraging you to get out there, because you are viewed as someone who is an authority, or you are viewed as someone who has a good reputation in matters that have to do with truth, truth coming out, or feeling whether or not you are on the side of truth or being believed about something. Crook and Flail always indicates the truth coming out, okay? And that you are on the right side of things. If there's any kind of legal issues, this would also be saying that legally there is no, you're on the right side of the law, I think is the way it's expressed. So, yeah, but overall, I would say these two together indicate an enhancement of your reputation. And this may be coming through messages that are coming to you. And this certainly is very encouraging for anybody who is going into their own business. Okay, 4th house. This is Cancer energy, and Cancer has to do with the home, your environment, your family. So there's an ancestral vibe to this house as well. It can have to do with the mother specifically, but there's definitely this idea of roots connected to this house. Roots, origins, and your actual home, whether it be the physical home you live in, or whether it has to do with your sense of where you feel at home, okay? And we have Ta with Leo energy. Okay, so Ta is Capricorn. Okay, this is Saturn energy. And Ta is a card of building. As you can see, there's the Mason's tools here. So there's the idea of building something. So for some people, maybe you are literally in the process of building a house, or doing house repairs, or putting an addition on, or changing something around. That could well be the case. Again, not going to be the case for everybody. The other possibility here is that there is a sense of building a foundation, laying a structure, setting a boundary for yourself. So Ta just may be that you are trying to create a stable space for yourself, or improve the space that you have. So whether this has to do with improving and building family relations, or whether this literally has to do with your living space. Ta is definitely this idea of building something, constructing something brick by brick, as it were, figuratively or literally. And you have it with Leo. Okay, so Leo energy, again, very similar to this energy here, is the energy of being seen, okay? And it's generally connected with the house that's next to it, the 5th house. And so this is a very good omen for any kinds of projects that you're trying to do. So if you are in fact building something, this is a good sign, a good omen. This is solar energy, so it's the light shining on a particular thing or a particular aspect of things. So, I don't know, I feel like you are in a space where you are, I don't know, you're being very much recognized for something. Maybe this is something you're recognized for something within your family, because there's a strong family vibe with these two houses. Or you're just trying to build a foundation in a place where you are recognized or where you are appreciated. So for some people, that could be a move and a desire to put down roots elsewhere. So it's going to be different for everybody here. But I definitely see this strong energy here of the light shining on you and shining on what you're doing. Now, if it doesn't have to do with the home and family specifically, it does seem to be something connected to your security. And that would go back to what we're looking at in the second house here if we're talking finances. So again, this is the idea of building something. I feel for some of you, you are looking very much towards the future and maybe shining a light on your own sense of security or on where it is that you're trying to be. So yeah, there's a lot here though showing that you are going to be getting a lot of attention very, very soon. And whether this has to do with family or whether this just has to do with your sense of security. Okay, something just came into my head with this. I feel for some of you, you are going to be getting a lot of attention, and this might affect your sense of security. Maybe you're going to be more inclined to want to set up a little bit of a boundary or a wall, which may be appropriate. But Leo would also be about basking in that energy. So I feel like I feel like you want to have the confidence. This is a card of confidence. That you want to have the confidence over here to meet the energy that's coming towards you, because it's all very, very good. It's very positive, and it's a very positive assessment of you and the work that you do. So there may be some security issues around this for you. Sometimes people have things like an imposter syndrome or things like that make you feel that perhaps you are not, maybe you're getting some attention for something and you're thinking like, oh, am I worthy of this? Is this real? Is it, but this is saying, this is a time for you to shine. Okay, so very good stuff that we're seeing over here. And again, this could specifically have to do with family, or it could just have to do with, maybe some of you have a business at home. Maybe that's what this has to do with as well. Maybe something that you're doing at home or remotely is going to get recognized. So take that as it applies to you. Okay, fifth house. This is Leo energy. We just talked about Leo. And Leo has to do with creativity. It has to do with children. Can have to do with love affairs. Also recreation, things that you do for that. And wow, okay, so you have Ankh with Taurus energy. Okay, so let's start with Taurus for a minute. Taurus, again, this is very practical, grounded kind of energy. I feel like when it's in the fifth house, it could be a creative project or something that you do creatively that becomes a source of income. That is possible here, or you find a way to monetize something that you're doing. This can also just indicate a situation that is growing like slowly and steadily. Stability, like we have that Capricornian stability here. You may be doing some planning over here with Sirius that's a little out of the box, but nonetheless, there's still this slow and steady way of building something or building reputation or building visibility for something. And Taurus here just indicates, something that grows slowly and steadily. So whether this has to do with something that you're doing creatively or something you're trying to build, whether this has to do with a situation with a child, could have to do with a Taurus individual too, quite literally for some of you, but again, that's not necessarily the interpretation. But there's a sense of slow and steady progress on something. Building something, making sure that you have a foundation that's solid, which again does completely square with what we're seeing over here. Now, Ankh is interesting because this is the card of love in the house of love affairs. So for some of you, maybe you've met somebody, maybe there's a romance going on right now. If not, maybe new romance is coming in very, very soon for some of you. Okay, there does seem to be this idea of a romance, but if there is one coming in, this may be something that grows very, very slowly. Maybe it's something where, it's going to come together. Maybe it's going to be starting out as a friendship and then eventually work its way into something. So, yes, we have this this strong Taurus energy. I'm looking across here actually at your house of friendship, and there's an Earth card here too. Okay. So, okay, for some of you, and it's with the void of course moon. So I feel like maybe there's somebody, if this is connected to love, okay, and I feel like this is a very specific message for somebody. So this may not be general. So just take this, but if it doesn't apply to you, then it's not for you. But Earth with void, of course, I feel like maybe there is somebody who's a friend, possibly an Earth sign friend, because we're seeing this Taurus energy, or somebody who has strong Taurus in their chart. But void, of course, may seem to indicate, well, nothing's happening right now. Okay, void, of course, means no action on something. Or a situation with a friend, maybe a meeting with a friend, maybe that doesn't happen right now. But if this is a friend with whom there's potentially a romantic interest, then this says to me that this may be a situation that it could have to do, again, literally with an Earth sign person, or again, Earth here is the same idea, the idea of something growing slowly. So it could be, okay, nothing's happening right now with this person, but there is going to be a love affair. I feel like that's a specific message for somebody. And again, if you're not looking for love, you're like, no, I'm married, not looking for love, or whatever the situation is, then this may apply to a creative project or something which you have a lot of passion or something that you love, or maybe towards a child that you care for very much. But whatever it is, we're dealing with a situation that is building slowly and steadily, or requires a slow and steady foundation to be built for growth. And it also could be doing something you love that's turned into something that's a financial opportunity for you. So again, those are all the possible interpretations. This house is a good example of why not all of the house all the aspects of the house are going to apply to you. And if you don't have children, obviously, and there's no significant thing going on with children, that's not going to apply to you. If you're not in a love affair or you're not looking for anyone, then that's not going to apply to you, you know? So that's what I mean when I say each house has its own attributes, and some of those are going to apply to you and some are not. So yeah, just take what resonates and ignore the rest. So, okay, now we're on to Virgo energy here. This is the 6th house. This has to do with health. It has to do with worry and anxiety. It can also have to do with a job. It's the house of service. So this is work that you do for somebody else, whether it be paid work, could be volunteer work. Sometimes has to do with pets as well. That's some people, sometimes I'll see a pet indication in here. Not particularly today, although you can decide if that applies to you. We have fire with the Yod aspect. Okay. Now, the Yod aspect is a tricky one because if it's a health thing, it can bring chronic health issues. So there could be that somebody is been dealing with a particular health issue over and over again. Not anything that's going to be fatal or anything like that, but it could just be if you are suffering from something chronic, maybe this is something you're experiencing right now. I know people who sometimes suffer from things like, Crohn's disease or colitis or IBS or something. It may have a period of time where it goes away and then it comes back. I mean, there could be an element of that. Now we have this with fire. If this does have to do with something that's a chronic illness, there could be something that's causing a flare-up. So just be aware of that. That may also be part of this retrograde energy, or even part of the eclipse energy. Maybe it's drawing attention to something. Maybe there's some other kind of an action that you need to take. Now, mind you, if you don't suffer from something like this, then this doesn't apply to you. I'm not a doctor, and obviously anything that comes up that's medical, that I think might be of a medical nature, you definitely want to talk to your doctor and not just take the word of a tarot reader. So this is, but in any case, this is this Yod aspect. If it doesn't have to do with that, there's definitely this idea of something maybe that has been a repeated struggle. And the fact that you see that the word, well, it's kind of backwards, but you can see the word destiny here. So when the Yod aspect comes up, if you have it in your chart, I have a Yod aspect in my chart, and this generally indicates that you are moving towards a particular purpose or in a particular direction, as though whatever you want to call it, fate, the universe, your gods, whatever, is shuttling you in a particular direction. And this direction may be causing some difficulties and struggles. Okay, this may not be something that you want to, that you'd rather not struggle with. But the struggle is happening because you're being pushed towards a particular direction. There's something there, like I said, there's almost an element of destiny to it in the sense of you're being shuttled towards whatever it is you're supposed to do. I mean, to say you're being shuttled towards your life purpose seems a little cliche to me, but and I do think we all have free will about what we're going to do, but I do feel like circumstances may be changing. For some people, this may be connected to a job, it may be connected to health, or just something you've generally been having worries about, in which case I would say that fire indicates an inspiration, that you have this Aries energy in the first house. You may be inspired to say, whatever this issue is, we're going to solve it right now. I want to be proactive. I want to take care of this, or I'm going to be inspired to do what it takes to solve the problem. So, this fire energy here is the desire to burn up and get rid of what is old. But there's a strong sense of inspiration here, and whatever you may be pushing against, whether it has to do specifically with a job or with something else, again, we have this aspect of destiny here. So there's something going on in the bigger picture is probably the best way to explain that. Okay, now let's get into the 7th house. This is your own energy, your Libra. And Libra, of course, has to do with relationships, usually legalized relationships, because Libra is the scales. So we could be talking about things that, legal partnerships. That's why it's a marriage rather than a love affair, because it would be something to which there is some kind of legal ramification. It can have to do with business contracts that you have with people. It can have to do with other kinds of legal arrangements. But if you, like I said, if you're in a partnership with somebody for work, or doing something for work, or whether it's just a matter of fulfilling a contractual obligation. We have water with the lunar eclipse. Okay, so this seems to be the area for you in your own house, 7th house, where you are going to see the effects of this lunar eclipse that's coming up. And lunar eclipse energy does bring sudden changes. Okay, so expect surprises in the area of relationships. If there's love going on here, if there is, because we do see a love affair thing, there's lunar eclipse. It can bring sudden changes. Whether these are going to be, whether we consider these good or bad changes, it depends. I don't think that a lot of people look at eclipse energy and automatically think, oh, this is going to be something terrible. And there's always been a tendency to look at it that way. But really, it's just more that we don't like to see change. And we definitely are seeing change here because you have the water card. So there's movement or action. Something is changing. If you are already in a relationship, whether it be a marriage, whether this has to do with a business partnership or a contract, something is definitely changing, and it's going to come out of the blue. It's going to something very unexpected here. But you have to understand that changes that are brought by eclipses are necessary changes. They show us truths. They reveal things. Okay? So I feel like you're in a situation, yes, something is moving or changing in connection to either a contract or within your marriage. If you and your partner have been at an impasse about something, if you are married, then it seems like there's going to be movement, and whatever's bringing that movement is going to be something sudden and unexpected. So, so see where that leaves you, but there's definitely, there could be a strong emotional element here too. We're looking at the moon because we're looking at the eclipse. We're looking at the eclipsing of the moon, and we're also looking at this water card. So I don't know, there could be a very emotional situation. Eclipses are energies that bubble over. So if there has been something that has been held back, if there's been a tension, then something's going to bubble over. Okay, so, okay. So now let's look at the 8th house here. This is Scorpio energy, and Scorpio has to do with transformations, and so beginnings, endings, and also with other people's money sometimes. Okay, so we have Mars with Osiris. Okay, again, you have this Aries energy in the 1st house, which is Mars energy. You've got this other fire energy down here in your home sector. You've also got a lot of fire and earth here is what I'm looking at. And yeah, okay. But Mars, again, there's this idea of action, action, action. The universe is pushing you to take action, Libra. You need to take action on something. And you have this is Sagittarius energy with Osiris, either Sag or Aries. You can really read it either way. But this is about being strong, about being stable and secure. I mean, you've got all this stuff about you being visible, being like an authority, or whatever it is that you do or that you're involved in. You're very, very visible. You have a solid foundation. Osiris seems to indicate that the fundamental, you don't have to worry about your world falling apart and unraveling, okay? I think there is some wounding or some fears around that, particularly when it comes to your financial security, but this is indicating a stable situation. If it does have to do with joint finances, this could be father energy, or or just somebody who's a strong masculine figure, maybe who is figuring into your joint finances. And again, that's not going to be for everybody. That's a possible interpretation of this. But again, Mars is telling you got to get busy. You've got to start doing something. You got to get busy. I don't know. And the fact that I'm seeing the Yod aspect down here, this could be connected to a job situation, or maybe even some changes you need to make to your health. I don't know. And again, everybody's different. And I don't want to imply to people who don't have a health situation going on that there is one. It's just that's a possible interpretation of it. But I feel more like this just is saying there's something where you have to, the phrase get up and go is going in my head. Like you've got to get up and go. You've got to be doing something. Because if you're concerned that you don't have the solid foundation, you've got Ta down here. You've got Osiris here. You have the good judgment. You know what you're doing. You have a stable base from which to operate. So launch, go. Okay, that's the message I'm getting here. Okay, so you can decide what area that applies to. I'm only suggesting certain areas based on what I see here. And I suspect that most of your fear here is actually financial. So yeah, so I don't know. And I don't think you have anything to worry about in that area. I think anything financially that seems like it might be an expense or something, I think is something you're going to find a creative way to figure out. Okay, 7th house, Sagittarius energy. This is about expansion, so it's Jupiter. It has to do with long distance travel, so going far distances. It can have to do with higher education. It can have to do with religious institutions and educational institutions. Anything that has to do with higher or deeper kind of learning, okay, is connected to Sagittarius. I also feel like Sagittarius energy is also about independence and freedom. It can also have a legal implication to it as well. Okay, now you've got Nepotus with Pluto. So here's another area. Whenever I look at a astrological chart, if I'm looking at just a regular natal chart, I'm always looking for Saturn, I'm looking for Pluto, I'm looking for Chiron, and of course in this particular deck, they actually is the eclipse energy that shows up. And again, you have this Yod aspect. So I don't remember if this is the way it was for you last time, Libra, but you are undergoing some massive transformations here. Now, Nepotus seems to indicate something that is just around the corner. So there's something that has not happened yet. So if there's a trip you've been wanting to take, it's not coming about yet. And actually with Mercury retrograde, not a great time for long distance travel. So, I mean, if you have to, you can, you just need to be very aware and very careful that there could be delays and problems. But Nepotus here suggests to me something coming in this arena, whether it has to do with higher education, whether it has to do with something to do with your beliefs. Again, this has also a very strong mystical bent to it. So for some of you, maybe there's a strong intuition or strong psychic impressions, if you're inclined towards that. But I feel more like this is saying something's just around the corner that you're not seeing. And with Pluto, I mean, yeah, this is a card of transformation. There's something either far away. It's funny. I'm seeing, even though you've got cards here that seem to imply a foundation or staying put, I feel like you're going to be making a foundation at a distance. There's something that kind of came into my head, and like something far away. So Pluto, again, there's this idea of exposing something, something being seen, something that is not been obvious or not been shown is going to be shown. And whatever this is going to be something deeply transformational. It's going to bring about a new beginning, well, an ending and a new beginning of some kind. Now, interestingly, I'm looking at the 10th house, which is Capricorn. And Capricorn is 10th house energy. This is your career, fame, reputation. I think we have the 10th house card down here in the 3rd house. So again, the fact that we have these connections here, there could be a connection to something about going into your own business or doing your own thing. That could be what this is about too. But we have Hathor. Now, for some of you, this is strong Venus energy. So perhaps you are in a profession or a career that is centered around something having to do with aesthetics or beauty. So a hairdresser, an esthetician, somebody who might deal with, makeup artistry, fashion, something like that. It could also be somebody who deals with something that's considered to be quote unquote more domestic, like sewing or baking or things like that. Could all be connected to Hathor. It doesn't have to be. Hathor in this house, especially for women, can also just be a woman who really has her crap together and really knows how to, is really organized in terms of what they're doing, but male or female. This is definitely somebody who's very well organized, or maybe needs to get things organized, okay? But we have it with the solar eclipse, okay? So the solar eclipse, again, it brings massive, massive change. So we're seeing the eclipse energy. So the solar eclipse that's coming up on the 8th is affecting your 10th house of career. But there's a huge light being shined on it. So I don't know, you are about to do something different. I feel like you're getting ready to go the distance. There may be shifts in a relationship or a relationship that comes about. I don't know, for some of you, this is definitely, I feel like somebody's pushing you away from a job. I've been feeling this for a while for you, actually. And whether it's this kind of a job, whether it's pushing you into this kind of a job, you know best. But this solar eclipse, now this brings changes that could be happening over, like I said, a little bit longer period of time. Eclipse energy, something might not happen immediately on the eclipse, but within the next 6 months. So yeah, so you've got this strong solar eclipse energy. It's bringing about a revolution in your life. And the fact that it's opposite the fiery Leo energy, yeah, and actually it's interesting. You've got Hathor and Ta opposite each other in opposite houses. See, this is usually the mother house. This is the father house. You've got the mother card in the father house, and the father card. Well, really the masculine card in the mother house. So there's this balance, this masculine feminine balancing here between your home and your sense of security and your getting out into the world. But some big change is coming up here. Okay, connected to your career. And from what I'm seeing down here, it's going to be a lot of visibility. Maybe you're going to be getting out of a job and finally doing the thing that you really want to do. But you're definitely being pushed in that direction. I did talk about the 11th house with Aquarius energy. Again, we have Earth, so you could have goals and wishes that are around something financial. Or this could be, as I had mentioned with what I saw in the 5th house, this could be an Earth sign person, maybe a friendship that's growing slowly. Though right now you have the void of course moon, so this is showing things not happening. Like this moment is not the right time for something to happen in that arena. But there is this idea with this and Taurus of something that may be a slow build if you're looking for love with somebody. If this has to do with a career goal or something going on in your networks, there is something. Again, you have this solidity, this foundation, this earth energy. It's just that there may be some aspect of it that's not going to happen yet. And that's okay. You can afford to be patient. 12th house is Pisces energy. And Pisces has to do with what's hidden. It has to do with what you're afraid of. And it can also just have to do with either what's repressed or what's not conscious or what you're not showing to people. And now we've got Isis with the Grand Trine. Now, Grand Trine's a really nice card because this indicates a natural flow of something. A Grand Trine is usually when you have planets in, they make like a triangle in the chart where you'll have, usually it all has to be within one element. So all fire signs, all air signs, all earth signs, all water signs. I have a Grand Trine in my chart. It's a Grand Fire Trine. So I have, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are all connect. They all have a planet in that house, in a house. So that it does make a trine. It does come together there. So Grand Trines, they allow things to move easily. So unconsciously, you are being moved towards something because it is the natural flow of things, because this is the way that things need to go. And you have Isis here too. So unconsciously, this is a very nurturing and protective kind of a card. It can also have to do with, it has a kind of a high priestess element to it as well. So this could have to do with what we're not really seeing right now. But I feel like maybe you're concerned about what you can't see, and maybe you're concerned about either maybe somebody else. Maybe you are concerned about your mother. Who knows? I mean, that could literally be true for some people. But it could also just be that there's some nurturing that needs to go on, some healing, some self-love that may need to go on there. Maybe that's not happening with all of this aggressive fire energy that you're turning outwards. Maybe internally there's a need for nourishment and healing of some kind, or patience, because Isis can also have to do with persevering patiently. Like if everything's not happening right now, you've got all this fire that's saying now, let's do it now, and this may be saying you can be patient. You do have some things that are not going to move ahead right away, but everything is moving in the direction it needs to, and it's going to flow easily. Okay. Overall, you have the Pyramid card with Pisces. Yeah, Pisces. Pyramid, rather. Let's start there. This is a card of initiation. This is going into something deeply, and it has to do with something that is going to be resolved with time. This could be like a test period for you right now. But all the things, there's a lot of solidity in this that says you are ready to launch, okay? But we have it with Pisces energy, so right now maybe you are feeling confused about maybe what you don't know, about maybe you have a lot of ideas, but you're not really sure. You're feeling very cloudy about how to get them off the ground. And this is saying, look, you are definitely being pushed towards action, but there may be certain things right now, see how things go, because in time you're going to be confronted with the opportunity or with the way of doing things. But I just see very soon, Libra, you're going to be the center of attention, and it's definitely telling you to act. You're going to be seeing the eclipses are going to be affecting your own house of Libra energy, and they're going to be affecting the Capricorn energy of the 10th house. So yeah, that's where the eclipse energy is. And with the 10th house, the 6th house, you've also got this Yod aspect. So for some of you, I'm seeing massive changes, particularly connected to a job or a career, especially if you are working for somebody and not for yourself. There's a lot here that's pushing somebody, at least, towards working for themselves if they're not now. Like, in other words, it's saying you've got all the pieces of the puzzle. You can do this. You just maybe need to be a little creative and recognize that you are dealing with some chronic wounding in terms of money. Maybe that's something that you are having a hard time with. Okay, so let's pull a essential oil oracle card for you. What does Libra need to know for this coming? Okay. We have the black pepper card has come up, and let me read that to you. The keyword here is integrate. The trigger statement is I am trapped. The true statement is I am whole. Allow the parts of yourself that you hide make themselves known. Ooh, look at that. Parts of self that you hide make themselves known. In the light you will see the wisdom they hold. So yeah, basically, Libra, it's time to let yourself shine. Okay, this has been a very, very long reading, but I hope this is helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this reading, do give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell if you do want to get these videos. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time.